got a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, not tonight, not now. Hold on, let me pull you out. That fella bites hard, but it don't get the crown. Hold on, stay with me now.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Toadstool Sports, July 2nd, Thursday, whatever. Like I said, do not listen to me. We cannot keep running at a 67% rate. It's completely unsustainable in this business. We're on a massive downswing. I told you, the start of the month does not matter. It is completely arbitrary. I could not have been more wrong with both plays yesterday. Don't listen to me, ever. Do not put money on these games that I'm giving out today. Don't do it. Again, if you're going to win in this business, you're going to be running like 55, 56% maybe. Like, that's probably the best you're going to do. And I'm still, over this last 88 days, what am I at? Like 60, low 60s%, something like that. You can't do that. It's not sustainable. So I knew I was going to take a huge, huge downswing. Here it is. It's so fucking fun. Whatever. Baseball, there are like 9 baseball games today. It's a Thursday, so there's less to do. I'm going to give out 2 more baseball plays. I'm sure they're going to win. I'm sure they're awesome. First game up is early, 12:35 Eastern. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia finishing, I think, a 4-game series here. Philadelphia has won 2 of the 3 games so far, including winning yesterday. A game where, what do we even say about that game? Paul Skeens got lit up in the game. Is that something you want to bet on usually? Oh, yeah, I'm going to assume that Skeens is just going to get drilled in this game. Yeah, okay. Yeah, whatever. So that was one of the losers on the show with the under in that game. I know there were some professionals that liked Pittsburgh in the game. Yeah, that didn't happen. This game, I don't even know what I would do with this game. This game is a disaster. Pittsburgh should have a little bit of motivation, at least, because they are trying to not lose the series 3-1. They have a bad bullpen, though. They used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Philadelphia used 4. Pittsburgh is ranked 22nd in bullpen. I do this by whip. Philadelphia is better at 14th, more of a mediocre bullpen. Pittsburgh is the better offense. They're ranked 2nd in offense. Philadelphia is, where are they? 20th. Not good. Tied with Detroit. Jared Jones is pitching for Pittsburgh. He is the more proven starter here, but he has also not proven that he's been able to come back from injury here. This is a great status here, by the way. I don't know who's doing this on ESPN. Somebody updated his status 23 minutes ago with no. Dude, oh my God. I kind of love that. Yeah, no is right because Jones has a 5.76 ERA, 1.44 whip. I guess they put him on a short DL stint. I don't know what's going on here. He has not pitched well after missing all of last year. He was good in his one complete season in the majors, but he is not pitching well right now. He is better on the road, 4.5 road ERA this year. You can make the argument he's been a little bit better recently, but he's still not going deep into these games. He's maybe starting to get into form a little bit here, but I don't really want to bank on that. He still has a high hit rate. His walk rate is not horrible. Strikeout rate is fairly good. I mean, it's 1 per 1 inning. That's pretty good. Numbers against Philly, though, not good. 20 at-bats against them, 300 batting average, 900 OPS. That's not good. Philadelphia is going with a pretty much an unknown here in Alan Ronhell. I have no idea who this guy really is. He has not made a start yet. So what I would say is if you're going to play this game, I would pick Jones must start, but avoid picking a Philly starter here because they might pick somebody else. Like, this guy has not made a start yet, so they've been putting an opener in front of him. He has made like a starter's workload, though, pretty much 3 times, and he actually hasn't been that bad. 4.5 ERA, 1.17 whip. Wasn't good in his last outing, though. His first bad outing was against the Mets, which is not a good sign. He hasn't pitched at home yet this year, so I don't know what we should think about that. But giving up 4 runs in 4 innings to the Mets does not impress me, although he does have a hit rate that's right at 1 per inning. His walk rate's low. His strikeout rate is actually high. I wouldn't bank on him. Pittsburgh has seen him a little bit. They have 5 guys who've seen him, 7 at bats, 286 average, 1143 OPS, 1-0 strikeout walk ratio, whatever. Yeah, so I don't know. This game to me, it seems like an over. I mean, that's probably what I would do here. I just don't trust the pitching here. 54% of tickets, 64% of the cash on the over. The total is high at 10.5 in a Philly game. That's pretty high. Philly has been hitting better at home, so yeah, I think over is probably the better way to play that game. I'm not going to do it. Minus 130 is the price on Philly. They're actually favored with Ron Hell on the mound. 78% of tickets, 54% of the cash on Philly. So the money is fading Philadelphia. The money's backing Pittsburgh. I mean, I could see the argument for it. It's kind of a motivational thing, and maybe you just go with the guy that's the better starter, the more proven starter, but Jones has not come back yet into form, so that would be a big concern for me. If you're going to play Pittsburgh, I think you should do it in the first 5 because their bullpen is bad. I don't think I have anything else on that game, but whatever you do, I would say pick Jones must start, but pick action essentially on the Philly side because I think Philly could put an opener in front of Ron Hell and then he'll pitch after that. I think that's probably the most likely thing that's going to happen, although maybe he will start. But either way, that's a pretty similar handicap. First, we don't really have any evidence as far as what he does as an actual starter because it hasn't happened yet. So does he get up more for it? I don't know. What's up, everybody? Garrett, McAdoo. No, I mean, the Thursday slate is smaller here. Yes, thank you. Gerald, it can't get worse. U.S. first half money line. I would not have really liked that. I don't know. I mean, although the U.S. scored after they got a red card, so after the red card, dude, my recommendation on that game was to play both teams to score. After the U.S. got the red card, I was like sure that Bosnia was going to find the net somewhere with a man advantage, and they never did. So I don't know. I think you kind of got screwed if you did what I recommended. Spain, Portugal parlay on the 3-way. I don't like that. I do not like that. I don't like Portugal. I really don't. All right, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yes, we were all Italian here. I don't know. Whatever. All right, Cincinnati, Milwaukee. I'm going to give out a play on this one. It's another one that's just too obvious, but you know me. I'm a master of the obvious, and it's worked out so well for me recently. Let's do it again. This game is going to be an under in the first 5, and I know it's a 3.5. It's a low number, but we have elite pitching here in this game, so I think we can get this done. It's at minus 118. I didn't really mind the price on this. You could go full game on this, but obviously my concern is Cincinnati's bullpen is a nightmare, and I could see Cincinnati's bullpen just alone just ruining the entire thing, so I don't want to do that. Even though if you do play the full game, you could get under 7, which is a key number here. I still wouldn't disagree with that, but I'm going to go first 5 on this. Cincinnati's bullpen blows, so get them out of here. Although these starting pitchers could get you deeper into the game, so you might be able to dodge the bullpen a little bit, but I still don't want to do that. Plus, when you go first 5, you're getting the starters like before they completely tire out too. So there is that argument for it. Cincinnati used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. I do not want to trust their pen here. Milwaukee did use their closer, McGill, yesterday. They used 3 relief pitchers. Milwaukee is the better bullpen. Like I said, they're ranked 12th, but I think they might be better than that. The Reds are bad. They're like a bottom handful of bullpens. Number 28, bad. Milwaukee's the better offense. They're back up to 9th in offense. Cincinnati 24th. But I think both pitchers should be able to hold the offenses down in this one. That's what I'm banking on here. Milwaukee also might be distracted here because they've already won 3 games in the series. So this is one of those spots where Cincinnati's trying to avoid getting swept here. Milwaukee, the question is, are they going to look ahead? Who do they play next is what you need to know. Well, they play Arizona. I don't really know if that's much of a look ahead, but maybe, maybe they start looking ahead to the road trip already. They've already won the series. I'm not looking at the side, though, although if you do look at the side, I mean, there are some arguments to be made for Cincinnati here. Of course, if you go Cincinnati, I would go first 5, obviously, because their bullpen is a detriment to you. But if you think it's going to be a close game between these 2 starting pitchers here, Misiorowski gets all the recognition right now. Chase Burns doesn't get any of it. So you might be getting some value playing Burns. I mean, Milwaukee's a massive favorite here, and they probably should not be favored this heavily. It's probably less heavy in the first 5, but you're still going to be looking at, if you take Cincinnati in the first 5 plus a half run, you might get some value with that, man, because again, these pitchers could just duel each other, and it could be a tight one through the first 5, and that's, of course, what I'm banking on, but I'm doing it by going with the under here. As far as what these pitchers look like, yeah, Burns, again, he just doesn't get the credit that a bunch of these other guys get. I like him. I mean, he's got a really good record. ERA, I mean, record doesn't mean anything really, but ERA 2.36, 1.08 whip. But I think his record being that good does mean something when he's on a bad team. So they win when he's on the mound typically. We don't need them to win here, but just something of note. But yeah, he's got a good ERA, good whip. His ERA on the road is a little bit worse, 2.72, but that's still good. He gave up 5 runs last time out, but it was at Pittsburgh, and he had 10 strikeouts and no walks in that outing. So his command was completely on point. So I'm not going to really knock him for that. And his team won the game still. But I think he kind of comes back to form here. I mean, I don't even think he was out of form in that game. I think he just got a little bit unlucky. Pittsburgh is a very good offense at home, better than Milwaukee is. Burns over the course of the season, really low hit rate, low walk rate as well, high strikeout rate. I mean, everything looks good. His numbers against Milwaukee, they really haven't seen much of him. They only have 5 at-bats against him. They have no extra base hits, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. They have 7 guys who have faced him, 200 batting average, 629 OPS. So Burns can ride some unfamiliarity here too because Milwaukee hasn't faced him this year. So they're not recently familiar with him. So I think he should do pretty well here. And when they have seen him in the small sample size, they haven't done well. Obviously, it's not going out on a limb to say that I think Misiorowski is also going to deliver a good start here. He's still the favorite to win the Cy Young right now in the National League. 1.45 ERA, 0.77 whip is ridiculous. I mean, that's probably unsustainable, but yeah, I mean, he's going out there and just throwing absolute gas. He's been basically the same home and away, slightly worse at home. 1.57 ERA. Oh, God, that's horrible. He did walk 4 guys in his last start against the Cubs, so he was a little wild in that one, but he still only allowed 1 run in 6 innings. I mean, he's still been dominating. I mean, what else is there to say? He has a really low hit rate. His walk rate is pretty low. If there's any concern with him at all, it's that he's still a little bit wild, but it doesn't even really matter that much. And he's not that wild. 146 strikeouts in 99 innings, I think, is the highest strikeout rate in baseball, too. Numbers against the Reds, not surprisingly good, although they only have 11 at-bats against him, so they're kind of unfamiliar with him, too. They got 7 hitters who have faced him. They do have some walks, 6 strikeouts, 5 walks, but that is only equated to a 619 OPS. 182 batting average is really low, but that OPS is still low. Misiorowski was a little bit wild last year. I believe Cincinnati has not faced him this year. So I think what you have here is 2 starting pitchers that have gotten even better this year, and the opposing lineups haven't seen them this year. So these lineups haven't even faced these guys when they've been at their best, which I'm saying is right here, right now, this year, I like this. I think this goes under. I think the money was agreeing with me on this. Let me see. What was I looking at? Yeah, we have 61% of the tickets on the over and 53% of the cash on the under. I'm kind of surprised the public is on the over, but I mean, I guess, I don't know, with a Reds and Brewers game, you kind of think offense usually. Not with this pitching matchup, though. Again, yeah, the total's at 7, but yeah, the money appears to be indicating on the under, and it's fading Milwaukee a little bit. Milwaukee's public, 84% of the tickets, 83% of the money on them as well. So they're a public side with a little bit less of the money on them. And again, this price at minus 200 is kind of ridiculous. I know it's because Misiorowski's on the mound, but that is, I think that price is just really, really overlooking Burns. So like I said, I think maybe there is some value with Reds first 5 in that game too, but I'm going first 5 under 3.5 in that one, which is correlated to that. Cy Young, Burns is not going to win the Cy Young. He has no chance to win it. Skeens is not looking good for it right now after yesterday, although Skeens has been good, but also Skeens' record is terrible right now because his offense doesn't back him. And for whatever, I mean, it's stupid, but the Cy Young voting takes that into account, which is stupid. Misiorowski is definitely going to win it. And if it's not him, I mean, Ohtani is in the running, even though he hasn't even made as many starts. Like, he wasn't a full starter again until like a month into the season, but Ohtani is going to be probably ahead of Skeens at this point. And Christopher Sanchez is one of the front runners as well. So yeah, Burns, I mean, he has no chance. He just doesn't get looked at. And Cincinnati's not a good enough team. Like, Milwaukee is a winning team. Philadelphia is a winning team. So yeah, Miz and Ohtani, obviously, Dodgers. Miz, Ohtani, and Sanchez it's going to be one of those three. And right now, yeah, Misiorowski is like the clear front runner. Burns has no chance. Miami and Colorado. This is also a 4-game series. Colorado lost the first 2 games, won yesterday, and the game did go under. I'm kind of surprised that a game that went under with Max Meyer pitching, but it was Colorado that actually won the game. That's kind of surprising to me. Like, if you would have said, well, Max Meyer's not going to have his greatest outing here, I would have been like, yeah, that makes it seem like that game's going to go over. And it didn't, but whatever. Miami, Miami probably doesn't want to split the series with Colorado, though, so probably both teams get motivated here. Miami probably tries to bounce back after the loss. Colorado used 3 relief pitchers. Their bullpen is awful. Miami used 2. Miami's still ranked 2nd in bullpen. I think they're not quite that good, but they're good. Colorado's ranked 27th. They're a bad bullpen. I think they're the 3rd worst bullpen. Of course, they get skewed a little bit by pitching in Colorado, but that's where they are. Colorado is ranked 5th in offense. And then what else do we have? Miami is somewhere in the middle of the pack. Miami's 14th. So Colorado is the better offense. This starting pitching, though, I mean, this screams over to me. Ryan Gusto is going for the Marlins. I know I tried to fade him not too long ago, and it didn't work out, but he's not good. 5.06 ERA, 1.55 whip is really bad. He's bad on the road, 7.2 road ERA. I know we're looking at a small sample size here, but he's not good. He allows a lot of fly balls. He allowed a pretty decent amount of home runs last year when he was on Houston. He's giving up way too many hits this year. Strikeout rate is okay. Walk rate's a little bit high as well. Not a lot to like with him here. I don't think he's going to do that well in Coors Field. Colorado hasn't really seen him, so he does have that advantage, I guess. They only have 2 guys who have seen him. They're 0 for 1 with a walk and a strikeout, which is Willie Castro and Julien. Not Claude Julien, the former Bruins head coach, and I believe Stanley Cup winning coach. Bring him back. Yeah, I mean, I don't put much weight into Gusto being unfamiliar to Colorado. I mean, he's not a guy that really fools hitters, so I don't think it matters. Michael Lorenzen is pitching for Colorado. He's having a pretty rough season. Things have been rough. 6.83 ERA, 1.79 whip. Bad. He's not good in Coors Field. 8.2 home ERA. Really, really bad stuff. Had an okay outing last time out against Minnesota. And you might be saying, well, he's pitching well right now, man. 3 of his last 4 starts, he's given up 1 or fewer runs. Yeah, true. But in his Minnesota start, he only had 1 strikeout. Maybe he just matches up well against the Cubs. I don't know. I am not ready to say that he's actually in good form right now. He's still giving up a lot of hits, so he's given up a ton of hits on the season. I think he probably has the highest hit rate in baseball. I mean, it's just a ridiculous amount of hits that he's giving up. His strikeout rate's not very high. His walk rate isn't too bad, but when you give up that many hits, it doesn't even matter. His fly ball rate is actually not that bad, but he's still allowed a decent amount of home runs here. Doesn't pitch well in Coors Field. Numbers against Miami are not particularly good, and 18 at-bats is a small sample. 5.0 strikeout walk ratio. Again, he doesn't walk guys, but guys just get hits off him. 278 average, 778 OPS. This game, to me, I think it's an over. That's probably what I would do if I was going to play this. You have to go over a huge total, though. It's 12. The money, it looks like the ticket percentage is on the under. 75% of the tickets, but 60% of the cash. I mean, could the under really be public? I don't really think so, but the market indicators do seem to be indicating towards the over based on those numbers there. I mean, that's how I would play this game. If you forced me to play it, I would go over the 12. I know it's a really high total, but it's Coors Field, and it's some bad pitching here. 71% of tickets, 84% of the cash on Miami. Miami's favored at about minus 124. I don't really disagree with Miami. I mean, they're the better team. They're in a bounce-back spot, potentially. Maybe you could even argue they have the better starter here. I mean, that's pretty sad if that's the case. But they do also have the better bullpen. So, I mean, I think there are more arguments for that than for the Rockies. But I think over makes more sense there. Chris Sale, I mean, I completely forgot about him. Probably not going to be him. I mean, the Braves are... I know the Braves have been winning again recently, but I don't know, man. The Braves have not been playing well recently. I don't know what to tell you about Sale. I mean, I just think it's like, I don't know. He's so far up there in age now. I don't think he's going to, I don't know what the odds are right now, but I think he'll probably be like 5th or something like that. He's not going to win it. He hasn't been as dominant as some of these other pitchers either. White Sox and Cleveland, this is a new series that's starting. Cleveland is staying at home, so Cleveland does have a travel edge here slightly. Staying at home, they did win the last game of their Texas series yesterday. White Sox are coming in from Baltimore, so they are having to travel. They did lose yesterday. As far as the bullpens, the White Sox bullpen is mediocre. They used 4 guys yesterday. Cleveland's is a little bit better, but they used 5 actually, and they used their better relievers, so that kind of negates Cleveland's slight bullpen edge a bit here. Cleveland is ranked 19th in bullpen, although I think they're a little bit better than that. The White Sox are 20th. I think they might be a little bit better than that too, but I think Cleveland is a slightly better bullpen again, but the usage kind of erases their edge a little bit there. White Sox are the better offense. They're 7th, tied with the A's. Cleveland has been awful offensively, especially since the injuries. 28th in offense, pretty bad. And they're going to have to contend with Davis Martin, who is having a good season for the White Sox. 3 ERA, 1.18 whip. Pretty good. He's not good on the road, though. 4.67 road ERA. So that's not good. So he is fadeable on the road. You usually want to back him when he's at home. Pitched well in his last road start, though, at Detroit. His road numbers are skewed a little bit because he had a really bad start against the Yankees. And Cleveland, needless to say, is not the Yankees. So he does get a much weaker offense here. He pitched well in his last outing, too, at home against Kansas City. But, you know, there are going to be some issues with this matchup that I'll show you those numbers in a minute. Martin, he has a pretty decent hit rate here. His walk rate is pretty low. Strikeout rate is reasonably high as well. He's got good numbers here. He's kind of come from out of nowhere to have a good season here. But, as I just alluded to, he does not have good numbers against Cleveland, although they only have 6 hitters who have faced him. But they have 36 at-bats against him, and they have a 333 average and 885 OPS, 6-3 strikeout walk ratio. So he has not done well against Cleveland, but he also hasn't faced them this year. So I don't know what we do with that information, because Martin is obviously better this year than he has been in the past. So Cleveland has not faced this variation of Martin. But I don't know what we do with that info here. You know what I mean? Like, Martin's been good, but he doesn't have good matchup numbers. Slade Ciccone is pitching for Cleveland. When I first looked at the starting pitching matchup, I was like, yeah, I mean, this is a big edge for the White Sox. But when you dig into it a little bit, it's not so much, maybe. Ciccone has actually been pitching a little bit better recently. Overall numbers are very mediocre. 4.18 ERA, 1.36 whip is not very good. He's better at home, though. He has the better of the home road splits here, 3.26 home ERA. And he's actually been pretty good over the last month. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in all of his starts. That was throughout June. And he faced the Yankees twice, Milwaukee, Houston, and Seattle. So those are mostly good offenses there. His walk rate, well, I don't want to say his walk rate was high. It was more that his strikeout rate was actually kind of low. But he's inducing a lot of ground balls, not allowing that many hits, not putting that many guys on base. So he is pitching better right now. He has a low strikeout rate on the season, not surprisingly. His hit rate is still too high, though. His walk rate is not too bad. So, I mean, he pitches to contact a bit, which the advanced analytics don't like that type of pitcher. But he's pitching a little bit better right now and doing it against some good offenses. And yes, the White Sox are also a good offense. The White Sox do have good numbers off him, but they only have 5 hitters who have faced him, 15 at-bats. They've really hammered him, though. 333 average, 12-12 OPS, 5-2 strikeout walk ratio. So, yeah, I mean, this game, I think there are more indicators towards an over in this game than anything else, but the money is coming in on the under. 53% of tickets on the over, 90% of the cash on the under. Totals at 8.5. Cleveland does play a lot of low-scoring home games, and we did get an under correct in the second game of the Cleveland-Texas series, I believe is what it was. This one, yeah, I think an over makes the most sense in this game, though, based on those pitching numbers there. Plus, you got some bullpens that could be a little bit fadeable here, given what their situation looks like, given the usage and the fact that they're kind of mediocre. The money is also fading the White Sox. White Sox are at about minus 110. It seems way too easy to play the White Sox at just a pick-em price here. But the teams have, similar records. It's just the public is going to back the White Sox because they have the better offense. The public always goes with the better offense. So the money seems to be saying that, well, there might be some value in fading the obvious and taking Cleveland here. 66% of tickets, 65% of the cash on the White Sox. I mean, I guess what I would say is that if you do play Cleveland, I guess you go full game with it and hope that the bullpen is a little bit better than the White Sox. But I don't know if I love that, man. I think I do lean to the White Sox slightly here, given what the starting pitching matchup is. But yes, like I said, Ciccone has been pitching better recently, but I still prefer Martin over Ciccone. And the bullpens, I don't know, man. The bullpens, maybe you want to avoid them. So I don't know. Maybe a first 5 White Sox would make more sense than full game. But it's not a game I'm doing anything with. All right. Next game up is St. Louis and Atlanta for Garrett. I think Atlanta's on the verge of sweeping. Oh, no, they lost the first game of the series. My mistake. Atlanta won yesterday, so maybe they're breaking out of this negative momentum because they've been playing bad baseball recently. Their offense has really fallen off, but they were able to win yesterday 5-1. So I think they're going to show up because this is a split series right now. Both teams will show up. St. Louis used 3 relief pitchers. Atlanta has the better bullpen here. Atlanta used 4, but this is the best bullpen in baseball with Atlanta based on many metrics. They're like far and away the best. St. Louis is not great at 21st. Atlanta has fallen off offensively. Like I said, they're in the middle of the pack now at 15th. St. Louis is 18th. I still think Atlanta is a little bit better there. This pitching matchup is interesting. Dustin May is pitching for St. Louis, and we know more about him, but he is still a little bit unpredictable because, he was good for a while with the Dodgers, and then he had arm surgery. Didn't look like he was going to be able to come back from that, but he's still not that old, and he is actually having an okay season with St. Louis here. 4.3 ERA, 1.2 whip. Atlanta not playing well right now. They're still a pretty good team, though. But I thought they were maybe not as good as they looked the first couple months, though. But yeah, May has been fairly good this season. He's been not as good on the road, though. 4.79 road ERA. He takes advantage of St. Louis being in a pitcher-friendly ballpark. Atlanta doesn't hit that well at home, though. May was not good in his last outing, so he was pitching well for a while. But what I will say is that he had some outings in June. He pitched against some really bad offenses. Texas, the Mets, San Diego, and then Kansas City's not that good either. That was in Kansas City. But May got absolutely jacked up in that game. He gave up 6 runs in 2 innings. Bad outing from him. Does that mean he's falling out of form now? I mean, possible, but you also have to look at the situation. May had thrown a complete game one-hitter against San Diego the game before that, over 100 pitches, although he threw over 100 pitches twice in a row, but you could definitely make the argument he was in like some sort of letdown spot after that, so maybe that's why he wasn't that good against Kansas City. Kansas City also at least is a decent offense at home, so you could argue May will return to form here, and that's just a little bit of a blip, but you could also make the argument he's coming out of form here, and I don't know which way it's going to go. His numbers against Atlanta are actually pretty good. In 70 at-bats, 200 average allowed. That is quite low. 668 OPS, 23-8 strikeout walk ratio. So, that ratio is not that good, but he does have pretty good numbers here against Atlanta. Atlanta's going with Hurston Waldrop, who we don't know too much about him. He's young. Most of what we get from him is he had 9 starts and 10 appearances last year. And he was good. He had a 2.88 ERA, 1.19 whip, had a pretty decent strikeout rate, pretty low hit rate, but his walk rate was too high. So pretty typical of these young pitchers where they're a bit wild when they come in. I think that's basically what we have from him right now. We don't know much about what he's doing so far this year. He had made 1 appearance so far, which I don't know if it was not a start. So he's made 1 bullpen appearance so far in late June at San Francisco, which was a pretty ideal place for him to come in, right? He got a hold in the game, but he actually wasn't good. He went 2 innings. He held San Francisco scoreless, but San Francisco's not a good offense, as I keep saying. Gave up 2 hits, 3 strikeouts was good, but 4 walks. I mean, he got lucky. He didn't allow any runs there. You cannot walk 2 guys per inning, man. You can't do it. So Waldrop, obviously, he still has some command issues here. That's going to be his concern. It looks like he doesn't allow that many runs or hits. He gets some strikeouts here, but he's going to walk guys. Now, St. Louis has never seen him before, so that might be an extra advantage to him. Under, yeah. I mean, that's basically what I was about to say. I mean, I think under probably is how I would lean here. The money is completely disagreeing with it, though. 71% of tickets on the under, 93% of the cash on the over. The money is backing the over here pretty strongly, and the total's 9. Like, when you see a 9 as a total, you know me. My unders are all, like, lower totals pretty much, because I always feel that the odds makers are telling you something when they line a game a certain way. They're sort of telling you they think this game's going to have some runs scored, with the total being at 9. You could argue they made a mistake putting up a 9, and maybe there is some value playing the under. Well, St. Louis's bullpen is bad, though, so that's something to keep in mind. So if you're going to play under here, I think you should do it in the first 5. I think you want to avoid St. Louis's bullpen. So I think a first 5 under maybe makes some sense. But these are pitchers that are really kind of questionable here, so I don't really know what we want to do. Atlanta's getting some of the money, by the way, even though they're expectedly pretty public. 65% of the tickets, but 69% of the cash on them at minus 110 or so. Maybe you get a little bit of value on Atlanta just because they haven't been playing well recently, but they're still a public side. I mean, I don't really love trying to figure out the side in this game, though. I could see it going either way. I think St. Louis is overrated generally, though. Like, I don't think they're as good as their record makes them look. So I think overall, I mean, Atlanta does have some advantages here. They have the better bullpen significantly, and they're the better team. So getting Atlanta is kind of a cheap price. It looks good in a way, but then again, it might also kind of look too easy. So this is his first start of the season. Yes, he made 1 relief appearance. I think Waldrop has some talent. Like, he has strikeout ability, but he's very wild, it looks like right now. All right, this is a shorter show, so what do I want to do here? I'll do a couple more games, then I'll take a break. I'll do one more, then I'll take a break because I have a play in the Detroit-Texas game. You probably already know what that's going to be. And then I will do WNBA, unfortunately, and World Cup, which I have not found a World Cup play that I like for a while. I should have just played Mexico the other day. I'm pissed. Dude, because today and yesterday I didn't see anything I really like in the World Cup. And yeah, Mexico looked better to me than everything these last 2 days, so I should have just played it. It was an easy win with Mexico. I'm pissed. Anyway, Tampa Bay and Kansas City. Kansas City is on the verge of getting swept by Tampa Bay here. They've lost 4 games in a row to Tampa Bay now, and they're not playing well. They've lost 5 of their last 6, excuse me. Maybe they'll get extra motivated because they're one of those home teams looking to avoid a sweep. Tampa Bay, I think, is actually off tomorrow. Oh, no, wait, they do play tomorrow. There are a couple of teams off tomorrow, which I think is because of the World Cup scheduling, which is bizarre. There are going to be a couple teams not playing on Friday, which I think Philadelphia might be one of them. I forget, though. We'll see tomorrow. Tampa Bay plays Houston tomorrow, so is Tampa Bay going to look ahead to Houston? Possibly. I mean, Kansas City is not a team you really pay much attention to, especially when you've been beating them, even though they split the last series with Kansas City. Kansas City also has a terrible bullpen, even though they only used 2 guys yesterday. There's no way I would trust Kansas City's bullpen. Tampa Bay used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. I don't love Tampa Bay's bullpen either, even though they're ranked 10th. So they do have a pretty good whip, but their ERA still worries me. In the mid-4s. I consider them to be like a mediocre bullpen. Kansas City is trash. They're ranked dead last in both ERA and whip. I'll say that right now they are the worst bullpen in baseball. It's close between them and Minnesota, but they are a bullpen that you have to either avoid or fade. Kansas City is ranked 22nd in offense. That's not very good. Tampa Bay is 10th, so Tampa Bay wins in that department too. Tampa Bay is going with Ian Seymour. What I will say about Seymour is you have to be aware that they might put an opener in front of him. So Seymour's only actually made like 3 starts this year. So if you're going to play this game, I think what you should do is play Kolek must start for Kansas City because he probably will make the start. But don't choose a starter for Tampa Bay because I think Seymour will pitch in this game, but they might put an opener in front of him. Seymour, he's been okay this year. 4.32 ERA, 1.14 whip is not bad. He's been really bad on the road, though. 7.41 road ERA. And Kansas City has become more hitter-friendly with moving the walls in. Seymour, he's actually been okay since they kind of moved him into this starting role or following role, whatever you want to say. He's made 3 starts in here, too. He actually had a no-hitter against Kansas City last time out. He went 6 2/3, no-hit ball, threw 90 pitches in the game. Now, my issue with that is going to be he might be in a letdown spot after that, man. If you go 6 2/3, no-hit baseball, and the same team now gets another look at you, and you threw 90 pitches in that game, and you're not used to throwing that many pitches, I think Seymour might do worse. And I mean, obviously, he can't do better than that, really, unless he actually throws a no-hitter. But I think the tendency is going to be for people to be like, oh, well, he dominated Kansas City. That should mean that he's going to do that again. I don't know about that. Kansas City might be able to hit him a little bit this time. However, you look at his numbers against Kansas City, most of it came from that last start, but they're 0 for 21 off him now. 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, so do I want to fade him here? No, I don't. That's just the way that it is. I mean, he could be in a letdown spot, though. Stephen Kolek, I mean, we got to figure out what we want to do with him, too. Kolek really started falling out of form, and then he went on bereavement leave, so I don't know if maybe there was, maybe something was going on in his head. Although I don't think Kolek is really quite as good as maybe his numbers suggested. But we have to worry about what this bereavement leave was. Is he going to be in the right headspace here? I have no idea. It could go either way, right? Like, it could be a distraction for him, or he could want to focus on baseball now that he's back, use baseball to focus on that and, put all that stuff out of mind. I don't know how it's going to go for him. He's got a 4.15 ERA, 1.19 whip is not bad. He's a little bit better at home, 4.03 home ERA. He was awful in his last start against St. Louis, though. That is not a good sign. He got obliterated in that start. Gave up 9 runs in 1 2/3 innings. But again, maybe he just wasn't in the right headspace, because that seems like it was an outlier, because the rest of his starts obviously were not anywhere near that bad. He does have a low strikeout rate, though. He does not strike guys out. His hit rate is fine. Walk rate is also low. So those numbers are okay. He doesn't really put many guys on base. I don't know what to expect out of him here. And he's also had extra time off. He hasn't pitched since June 21st. So if you, you know what I say about time off. Like, I talk about buys in football and stuff. I think that if you go into that time off on a really bad note, the time off can actually help you. It can help you fix what's wrong and get you in a new mindset again. So the fact that he's been off since June 21st, maybe that'll help him a little bit. Even though pitchers, I do say they're creatures of habit. You want them to pitch on schedule. But for him, with his start being that bad, a change of schedule could be a good thing here. Then what are his numbers against Tampa Bay? They're not good, although Tampa Bay only has 4 hitters who have faced him, 6 at bats, but they have a 500 average, 1167 OPS against him. So Kolek hasn't really done that well against him. This is a very difficult game to figure out. The money is fading Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is at about minus 118, minus 120 here. It looks really easy to play Tampa Bay, right? Like, Tampa Bay is still leading the AL East here because the Yankees are on a massive skid right now. Kansas City has one of the worst records in the American League, so it looks really easy to play Tampa Bay here. 81% of tickets, 51% of the cash on them. Probably it looks too easy, so that's why the money is fading them here. If you play Kansas City, you cannot play their bullpen, though. You have to play them first 5. And I don't know if you really want to back either of these pitchers here, to be honest. The money is also heavily on the over. 69% of tickets on the under, 95% of the cash on the over. I can kind of see the argument for it. If you think that Kolek might still be, have something going on in his head, if Seymour has some sort of regression here from that awesome appearance that he made last time out against this exact same team. Kolek, of course, because he was off for an extended period of time, he did not pitch in that series. So Tampa Bay didn't see him recently. But 10.5, it's a high total, though we've been seeing high totals in Kansas City because they move the walls in, and Kansas City's bullpen is atrocious. But maybe all those things will help this game go over the total. 10.5. I think there are more arguments for an over than an under in that game. I will say that, at least. The Braves traded Swanson. Yeah, he's on the Cubs, right? Stacks, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right, I'm going to be right back. Then I'll finish the show off. We'll have one more baseball play, 3 baseball games to talk about, 3 WNBA games, 3 World Cup games. So 3-3-3. Only have one more play left, and it is in the next baseball game. All right, 1 second. Yep, inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I've never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What kind of slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I Don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. Yeah, the slump continues. All right. Hold on a second. I feel like my audio might be kind of loud on it. It's set to where it usually is, though, so I don't know. Anyway, next game up, Detroit, Texas. All right. This is going to be an under. You probably could have predicted this. It's Texas, you know. Playing unders in Texas, not a bad idea. They play a lot of home under games. They don't hit as well at home. They pitch pretty well at home. 7.5, we get the key number there. We get the hook. I think both bullpens are actually backable here. I mean, not surprising with Texas, but with Detroit as well. Texas didn't use their better relievers yesterday. So Texas, they'd used them the day before that. So Texas does have their better relievers available here. They're pretty well rested, actually. Detroit's bullpen's been fine recently, too. They're in okay shape, I think, coming into this one, too. They used a couple of more long relief guys yesterday. They do have some injuries going on, but some of their better relievers are available, including their back-end relief pitchers. So I think the bullpen's set up okay here. Detroit's ranked 17th. Their ERA is below 4, so that's something I do like to see, of course. Texas, their bullpen is ranked 8th. Their ERA's gone up a little bit recently, but I like Texas's bullpen. I think they're good. I think they're in a better shape here now, more rested again. And I'm going to back both starters here. Framber Valdez is pitching for Detroit. And I know this guy is kind of wild. He's out of control. He's got a 4.05 ERA and 1.33 whip is not that good. I know, but I've backed him in some other similar situations to this, and I think this might be a good situation to have him do well. He's been better on the road, 3.59 road ERA, so that's good. So he lines up decently in that regard here. He's pitching in Texas, which is probably going to be a good thing. He's coming off a bad start against Houston, but he pitched really well against the Yankees the start before that, and he was good against Houston, which, by the way, was an under that I gave out on the show here in the game against Houston. First 5 under. He pitched really well. That was his first start against Houston after Houston got rid of him. So I told you I thought he would be pumped up, and he was. And then in his most recent start, he had to face Houston again almost immediately. So he was at more of a disadvantage in that next one. And Houston did get to him a little bit, but he wasn't horrible in that start. So I still think he's pitching all right now. His hit rate is, kind of mediocre this year. It's fine. His walk rate is a little bit high, which is usually the case with him. His strikeout rate has gone down a little bit this year, which is a little bit of a concern. But he is pitching okay. And again, I think this is a good matchup for him to pitch well here in a good environment in Texas. Although you're going to say, well, Texas is familiar with him, though, because he was on Houston. Yes, that's true. So we're going to have a big sample size. He's also a ground ball pitcher for what that's worth. But, Texas really, what their stadium does is it helps fly ball pitchers pitch a little bit better. It doesn't really affect ground ball pitchers. Valdez against Texas, yes, Texas has seen a lot of him because he was in their division, 108 at-bats, but it's a good thing in this case because even though they're familiar with him, they have not been able to hit him at all, really. They have a 194 average against him, 510 OPS, 40 strikeouts, and 4 walks. Is that ratio good? Yeah, 108 at-bats is hit, almost half of them have resulted in strikeouts. I mean, this is ridiculous. So, yeah, he pretty much dominates this Texas lineup. So I think this is a good matchup for him. He's better on the road. It's a pitcher-friendly ballpark. And we'll also back Nathan Eovaldi on the other side. Eovaldi is pitching better again recently. He's got a 3.95 ERA, 1.16 whip. He was really good last year for Texas. And I know this year he hasn't really been as good, but I think he's been getting a little bit unlucky via the home run ball, which is his one issue, is that he gives up home runs. But again, Texas Stadium tends to knock some of those things down. He hasn't been as good at home, so the home road splits are actually against him here, 4.5 ERA at home. But I have a hard time wrapping my head around how to explain that. You know what I mean? It's a smaller sample, though. His road starts are a bigger sample by, more than double. He's made twice as many starts, basically, on the road, thrown twice as many innings. So I don't really put that much weight into his home numbers here. And I'm pretty sure that last year he was really good at home. Or actually, I'm wrong. Last year, he was actually worse at home, too. So, my mistake. But he was really good just overall last year. His home ERA was 2.15. So, yeah, 4.5 this year. I kind of expect that to go down a little bit. He's been pretty good. His last 3 starts, he gave up 3 runs or fewer in all of them, went 6 or more innings in all of them. I will put a caveat behind that, though, that 2 of them are on the road. And the starts were against Boston, San Diego, and Toronto. Those are not good offenses, I know. But he was pretty dominant, man. I mean, he had 24 strikeouts and 3 walks over that span. So he's obviously in full command of his pitches right now. He's pitching well. He was really, really good last year. He's got a low hit rate this year, a low walk rate as well. Strikeout rate pretty high as well. Again, it's just been the home runs, and it doesn't really even make sense because he's not even a fly ball pitcher. So the amount of home runs that have been hit against him really just seems like an outlier to me. I don't know what's going on with that. They're still happening, although he didn't allow any in his last 2 starts. Again, I don't know what's going on with that, but I think he is backable here, and he's going up against a lineup that isn't that potent, and they haven't done well against him. They actually only have 7 hitters who have faced him, 32 at-bats, 188 average, 579 OPS, 7-2 strikeout walk ratio. So Eovaldi has done pretty well against Detroit's lineup. We'll go under in this game. This one, the money was not agreeing with me, and I know the money didn't agree with me on either play yesterday, and they both got absolutely slaughtered. We have 55% of tickets, 88% in the cash on the over here. But the odds makers are telling you they think it's going to be a low-scoring game by lining the game at 7 or 7.5 here. So which one do we believe? Do we believe the market percentages, or do we read into the odds makers telling you this game's going to be low scoring? Also, the money's coming in towards Detroit. 65% of tickets, 61% of the cash on Texas at minus 120 or something. If you think Valdez is the less trustworthy of the 2 pitchers and money is kind of backing him to pitch well here, that to me kind of is an indicator towards it being an under as well. I point that out occasionally on the show. So, yeah, I like the under in that one. All right, next game up, I almost put this on my card too. Anaheim at Seattle. These teams didn't play yesterday because there was a World Cup game in Seattle. So these teams were off yesterday. And you know what I say about that? I think when there's a day off, it helps the under because the hitters can kind of cool off a little bit and the bullpens can rest. However, I don't like Anaheim's bullpen. We have 2 rested bullpens. Seattle's ranked 18th, but they're definitely better than that. Their ERA suggests that they're definitely better than that. I know their whip isn't that good, but Seattle is a pretty decent bullpen. Anaheim is not. Anaheim is ranked 25th. They're a bullpen that I do want to avoid. Hitting-wise, neither team has actually really been that great. Seattle, they've had guys in and out of their lineup all year. They're at 25th right now, but I do think they're better than that. The Angels are 17th. I think the Seattle offense might get going at some point. Now, Seattle is on the verge of sweeping Anaheim here. So their momentum might stall out a little bit. So if you're looking at the side here, possible, situational angle for Anaheim here. But I don't think you could fade Seattle's starting pitcher here or fade Seattle's bullpen with Anaheim's bullpen. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the problem. I think Seattle has some advantages here, but Seattle is a huge favorite and probably should not be favored by as much as they are. Seattle plays Toronto next, by the way, starting tomorrow. So if Seattle hasn't played Toronto yet this year, you know what that is. That's a huge revenge series because you remember what happened last year. Toronto beat Seattle in the ALCS in a very crazy series that I think it went 7 games and it went extra innings in game 7, if I remember correctly. That series was insane. So Seattle might look ahead to Toronto. So I would worry about, Seattle maybe being distracted. That series against Toronto is going to be big just because it's a huge revenge series for Seattle. But again, I don't want to fade Seattle's starting pitcher here. Anaheim's bullpen is absolutely awful. I do like the starters, though. Waldrop is pitching for the Angels. I think he's good. He's still only 22, and he's shown signs of being a pretty good pitcher. He's got a 3.14 ERA, although I know his whip suggests that he's not as good as that. 1.34 whip is a little bit high. He's been good both home and away, though. He was better at home for a while this year, but he's sort of the same home and away now. He wasn't good in his last home start, and that's probably why. which is interesting because he went to the A's stadium and absolutely dominated the A's pretty much for 5 innings, which is a really good sign doing that in that stadium. But then he came home and maybe a difficult spot because the A's had just seen him. So the A's figured him out, and the A's demolished him in that last start. Now, the good thing for Urania here is he's not going to be in a spot like that because Seattle has never seen him before. So I think Urania, he had an unfamiliarity edge against the A's the first time. And then the thing about these young pitchers is when the opposing lineup sees them once and doesn't do well, the next time they see them, the hitters do have an advantage because they just saw him and they saw him for the first time. So then they know what to expect. So I think that's what happened there. I kind of like Urania to bounce back here in this one. I mean, he allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in every other start except for 1 early in the season on the entire season. He's got a really low hit rate. His walk rate is too high, though. That's his problem, is he walks way too many guys. His strikeout rate is decent. His ground ball rate is good as well. Seattle's a pitcher-friendly park, so I think that should help him out probably as well, although he's not even a fly ball pitcher, though. But again, unfamiliarity against Seattle should help him out as well. So I think Urania should pitch well here. And on the other side, Bryce Miller has been awesome for Seattle since he came back from injury. 1.97 ERA, .72 whip. I mean, he's putting up some elite numbers here. 0.57 ERA at home is ridiculous. He's been basically untouchable at home. He just had kind of a questionable start at Pittsburgh where he allowed 3 runs in 5 2/3 innings. But we know Pittsburgh's really good at home. He still had 11 strikeouts in that outing, so he was striking everybody out. Didn't walk anybody, and he got a little unlucky that he allowed 2 home runs there. His home run ball has been an issue a little bit recently, but it was against Washington and Pittsburgh on the road. Those are 2 pretty potent offenses, so I'm not going to put that much weight into that, even though Anaheim can hit their fair share of home runs as well. Miller has a low hit rate since he's come back, a really low walk rate. He's hardly walked anybody, and his strikeout rate is high, so his command numbers are really, really good. These numbers look pretty elite right now. I'm not going to say that he's actually an elite pitcher, but he is good. His numbers against Anaheim are also good. In 53 at-bats, 189 average allowed, 578 OPS. The walk rate is the only issue here. 17 strikeouts, 7 walks. It's too many walks. But other than that, yeah, I like this to be a first 5 under, man. I was really close to putting this on my card. The money is backing the over. 61% of tickets, 94% of the cash on the over. But again, this is a low total. It's 7 or 7.5. And I think you could find a first 5 under 4 in this game. I mean, this game just concerns me a little bit more, just the way that I think about it. But of course, that means this one's going to be a winner and my plays are going to be losers. That's what it means here. I just think Urania is just a little bit of a wild card. So I'm not fully sure there, but I do trust Miller. The money is backing Seattle. 84% of tickets, 91% of the cash on Seattle. And yeah, I mean, I think Seattle does have a starting pitching edge here. I think they clearly have a bullpen edge here. You could maybe argue they have the better offense too, but they're not in the better situation. And minus 210 is ridiculous. I think the price on Seattle is pretty ridiculous in this game, especially given the total is really low. I don't think any team should be favored by that much in a game with a total that's this low. A game that's supposed to be pretty close. I just don't think there's any value trying to back Seattle here on the money line or maybe, on the run line or whatever. So, yeah, but I wouldn't want to fade them either, even though the situation does kind of line up against them. All right, so yeah, I like first 5 under 4 in that one if you can find it. And then we have San Diego and Dodgers on MLB Network. Dodgers are returning home from the road. And I talk about how return home, it's a bad spot. They went to Minnesota, San Diego, and the A's, so they're returning home from a long road trip. I talk about that. You return home, you could be distracted. Could be worse because, this might be an even worse spot for the Dodgers because they have a 12-game advantage over San Diego right now. And during that road trip, they won the series in San Diego. So, what motivation do they really have to focus that hard on this game? You know what I mean? San Diego's going to be the more motivated team here. So, I don't like the Dodgers spot here, returning home from the road. However, The Dodgers are staying in the Pacific time zone. They've played 2 series in the Pacific time zone over the last week or so. So the Dodgers don't have to change time zones. San Diego does. So that's a little bit of an issue. San Diego, if they were starting a road trip, I would like San Diego a bit more here. San Diego just played in Chicago. They were at the Cubs, so they're in this spot where they have to travel 2 time zones back west, and they have to play a 10:10 p.m. game. And I warn against that. I don't like spots like that when a team is going from one of the Eastern time zones back west and playing a late game. It's going to mess with their biological clock. Although what I will say is San Diego's not going to overlook the Dodgers. San Diego's lost 5 games in a row, 2 to the Dodgers, and got swept by the Cubs. They lost 23-3 yesterday. Yeah, Walker Buehler was really bad in that game yesterday. So you're coming off an embarrassing loss. 23-3 looks like a football score. So that does make me think that San Diego is going to at least be motivated here. But I do worry about the travel spot for them, having to travel back west like that. And I can't back Randy Vasquez either, man. I know San Diego has a very good bullpen. I think they're an elite bullpen. They only used 1 guy out of the bullpen yesterday, so their bullpen is basically clean here. And all their better relievers are available. The Dodgers have a pretty rested bullpen too, though. They only use 1 guy over each of the last 2 days. So their bullpen is rested too. The Dodgers are ranked 5th in bullpen. San Diego's 9th, but I think San Diego is the better bullpen. But the Dodgers bullpen is not bad. Dodgers are number 1 in offense, and San Diego is dead last. So, of course, that is a little bit of a concern for San Diego that they can't hit. Although they might be able to put up some runs here, but I can't back San Diego because Randy Vasquez, the advanced analytics guys got him right. He's regressing in a major way right now. He's got a 4.44 ERA, 1.46 whip is really bad. And I've complained about his whip in the past too. Like, he just puts way too many guys on base. That's happening again. Although, crazily enough, he's actually better on the road, 3.32 road ERA, so that does make him a little bit more backable on the road. I still don't want to do it, though. It also doesn't make sense. Like, why is he that bad at home in one of the most pitcher-friendly parks in baseball in San Diego? I don't know, but he's been awful recently. He's failed to make it more than 4 innings in 3 of his last 4 starts. San Diego's lost 4 of his last 5 outings. I mean, they've lost more than that going back. They've lost 6 of his last 7. He gave up 7 runs apiece in his last 2 starts. Granted, there was some bad fielding behind him, so only 10 of those 14 runs were unearned, but that's still awful. Or were earned, but that's still awful. 10 earned runs in 6 2/3 innings. One of them was at Texas. I think I might have tried to give out an under on that one too. How do you pitch poorly in Texas? That's not a good sign, man. And then he got lit up by the Dodgers in his most recent start. So the Dodgers totally wrecked him in his most recent start. And he also pitched poorly against the Dodgers back in May. Both those games were at home, but he does not appear to do well against the Dodgers. I don't think it matters if the Dodgers saw him recently or not. His numbers against the Dodgers, they're not very good. In 70 at-bats, 271 average is lower than you would think. 905 OPS, not good. 9 strikeouts, 7 walks. So, I do not think he's going to do well here. The Dodgers are going with Roki Sasaki, and he's not pitching well right now either. And I think what they did with Sasaki, they pushed him back. I think they pushed him back intentionally to give him a better matchup. Because if you look at the Dodgers' schedule, they're playing the A's in their most recent series. So I think they pushed Sasaki back to give him an easier offense to face against San Diego. The problem with that approach is he faced San Diego in the previous series in San Diego, and he was bad. He went 4 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, had 5 walks in the game, and only 2 strikeouts. And that was in a pitcher-friendly San Diego park against the weakest offense in baseball. That is not good. And now he has to face them again now. Maybe he'll do better this time, but Sasaki, like I said, he's fallen out of form, dude. Once he got blown out by the White Sox, that ruined, his momentum. Like, he was pitching well for a while and looking like he was kind of getting the hang of things, but I question his mental toughness, and I think that White Sox start just spiraled him again, and he hasn't been good for 3 starts in a row now, so that's not good. He does have a good ERA at home, 3.5 home ERA. So I think that was also part of the reason why the Dodgers pushed him back. I think it was because they didn't want him to pitch on the road. And having him pitch in the A's stadium, that would not have helped his confidence. You know what I mean? So they didn't want him to pitch in a hitter-friendly park against a very potent offense. So now instead they're like, all right, we'll have you pitch at home where you're better against a weaker lineup, which it does make sense. Sasaki, he has a 4.88 ERA overall, by the way, and a 1.33 whip. Some of those numbers are coming out of the bullpen. I don't think that fully is indicative of what he really is, but I think it's hard to gauge what he really is right now. Going against San Diego, he wasn't good in that last start against San Diego, like I said. His numbers are really weird against them. Like, basically all their hitters have faced him at least once. He's got 14 at-bats against them, which isn't a lot. 2 strikeouts, 4 walks, not good. 214 average allowed is really low, but a 960 OPS. So, yeah, I mean, he hasn't allowed them to hit for average, but they've hit it against him for power, and they've drawn a bunch of walks against him. I don't think I trust Sasaki here. I think this game looks like an over. The total is 9. I mean, it's pretty high for a reason. 73% of tickets, 89% of the cash on the over. I know San Diego was in a massively high-scoring game yesterday. I know this is the Dodgers, so the public is probably going to play the over here too, which, as I kind of mentioned, the public percentage seems to be there, but I think the over makes sense here, and you're right on that key number of 9, so not even having to lay the 9.5 with that. Seems like that's probably the right way to approach this game, is to play the over. 89% of the tickets and 87% of the cash on the Dodgers. Dodgers at minus 198 or so here. Yeah, I mean, you're always going to have to pay a premium with the Dodgers. I don't think Sasaki should be a favorite that heavily. Dodgers is still in that dreaded return home spot, which is not great. So, I mean, I can understand maybe there is some value in trying to back San Diego here. I think if you back San Diego, you just pray that you get through Vasquez and then you get San Diego's bullpen somehow stealing the game for you there. And you're playing on the situation as well, So, that would be the argument for playing San Diego on the run line. But the problem with that is it's not correlated to the game going over, and I like the over. If the game goes over, it's probably more likely it helps the Dodgers. It helps the case for the Dodgers to cover a run line if the game's going to go over. So, but yeah, I think if you're going to play the game, I think the over is the better way to play that. I would not try to play the side. Dirty Sock, yeah, thanks for hanging out. What's up? All right, yes. Okay, finally, baseball. Baseball takes forever, man. WNBA, I'm not going to have any plays here. So, WNBA resumes after all these teams, except for the Cup teams the other day. But those teams don't play until tomorrow. All these teams have been off for an extended period of time. So, you know what I talk about. When you have an extended break, I consider it to be like a bye. So, I look at like what was the team doing momentum-wise. You know what I mean? So, like if the team was playing poorly and they had a break, I think the break helps them break out of that negative momentum. If the team was playing well, I like to look to fade that team coming out of a break because I think the break could stop their momentum. Now, the first game is Atlanta-Washington. Washington had a crazy game in their last game. They had a 4-overtime win over Portland. That's crazy stuff, dude. But they've had a lot of time off since then. They haven't played since Sunday. So that's the thing. If they're playing on like regular rest and having to play again a couple days later, they could be pretty tired, and I'd be looking to fade them. But they've had extra time off, so that's going to help them get over that 4-overtime game. They're staying at home, and they're not going to overlook Atlanta. They got blown out by Atlanta on the road the other time they played Atlanta this year. So if anything, Atlanta might overlook them. But the problem with that thinking is Atlanta went into the break about as bad as possible. This is a good Atlanta team, and they went into the break on 3 straight losses. They lost at Golden State twice, and Golden State is a good team, dude. The Western Conference is good. Golden State's very good at home, and I'm pissed we lost the second game there trying to zigzag it because I thought Atlanta was in a bad spot in the first game. They definitely could have won for us in that second game, and it didn't happen. But then after that, they were in like a hangover spot. They were in a really difficult spot after that. They were playing a back-to-back and a third game in 4 days and a fourth game in 6 days and fifth and 8. And I think it was what is this? It was a 6 game in 10 days, basically. So you don't usually see that in the WNBA. So Atlanta obviously was just fatigued. And they lost to Seattle. I mean, that is embarrassing. Seattle is a very bad team, and Atlanta lost to them. That's not good. So that's the way they went into the break. Much, much needed rest for Atlanta here. That was a team that was really fatigued. They went into the break on a really, really bad note. So I think Atlanta comes out of this focused. You know what I mean? They've traveled back to the Eastern time zone. They've had plenty of time to get used to the time zone again. I know they beat Washington once already, but they're also the better team. And Atlanta is the better. Both teams should be focused here, but you're getting Atlanta in the better spot. I mean, Washington did still go into that break on kind of an insane high note with a 4 overtime win, although I know it was only against Portland. Portland's not good, but still, I think it sets up better for Atlanta because you're getting the better team who went into the break on an extremely negative note. I would lay the points with Atlanta if I was going to play this one. The money isn't really indicating one way or the other. We have 62% of the tickets and cash on Washington. Atlanta's laying 6.5, so they're below that key number 7 here at most of these books. I think that's what I would do. I would lay Atlanta in that one, but I don't feel that strongly about it. Dallas at Connecticut. This is a game that on the surface at least looks like it should be a mismatch. Connecticut's bad. This game is on Amazon Prime for what that's worth. Connecticut did actually win 2 games going into the break, which is half their wins on the season. They were a 2-win team until their last 2 games where they won at home against Chicago and Washington, and they won by double digits in both games. So, maybe Connecticut was getting some momentum going. The problem is that momentum might just stall out because they haven't played since Friday, so I don't like that. They've been on like a week break. After they finally got some momentum, that could hurt Connecticut now that they don't have that momentum anymore. They're still probably not going to overlook Dallas, though. Dallas is, basically the up-and-coming team in the WNBA. They're probably going to make the playoffs. I think probably that would be for the first time, I don't know. But Dallas, they're coming off some tough games, too. Yes, some tough games, I should say, because Connecticut's games weren't tough. They just won them. Dallas is coming off playing some really difficult opponents. Lost Vegas on the road, and then they came home and lost to Minnesota in a return home spot. That was difficult. Vegas and Minnesota are pretty arguably the best 2 teams in this league, and I know Vegas lost, the Commissioner's Cup, but, Vegas was without Asia Wilson in that game, whatever. Vegas and Minnesota are probably the best 2 teams in the league, and Minnesota's been doing this without Collier, who is maybe the best player in the entire league. So Dallas, they played some difficult opponents going into this break, but maybe having the break will still help them break that losing momentum. They're starting a road trip. They only play Toronto next, so it's not really a look ahead next. The game after that is the big one against New York. I don't really know if Dallas is really going to overlook this. I don't know. I don't have a good feel for this. Dallas is getting the money. 57% of tickets, 93% of the cash on Dallas. This is the game I feel the least strongly about, but it's the game that has the strongest market read on the side, which is on Dallas, laying the 7.5 or 8 here. I don't know what to think about it. I don't have a strong opinion on this. If you're just looking at pure momentum, then Dallas does kind of make sense that they'd be able to break their losing momentum with having the break there. But again, they went into the break on some, playing some pretty difficult games. And then we have Seattle and Phoenix. And of course, like I said, Seattle went into the break on a high. They beat New York and Atlanta going into the break. Those are 2 huge upset wins. Now they're going to Phoenix. The thing is, yes, I think their momentum could be broken here. They could be in a letdown spot over those huge wins. They haven't played since Saturday. Those are definitely some negatives for Seattle here. The problem is Phoenix has some negatives here too, and one of them is that these teams playing on June 20th in Phoenix, which is where they're playing tonight, and Phoenix won the game easily. Phoenix won by 20, and Phoenix is the better team. There's no question that Phoenix is the better team here. The thing is, Phoenix is not really in a particularly good spot here. Phoenix is returning home from a road trip. They went to Indiana to play them twice and then went to Toronto. So they're coming all the way from Toronto back home. Now, yes, they've had like half a week off here. They haven't played since Saturday. So that might help them get their stuff done at home. Or it could do the opposite, possibly. It might get them more settled in at home, you know what I mean, and add to that distraction. Like, do you really think they're going to pay that much attention to Seattle? They just beat Seattle before that road trip. You know what I mean? That was literally the last time they played here at home. They beat this Seattle team. So I think they might take Seattle a little bit lightly, although Phoenix doesn't have a big game up next against Chicago. But, yeah, it's a negative spot for both teams. Phoenix's momentum might be hurt a little bit because they went into the break on a 2-game win streak, including beating Indiana, so they might have their momentum stalled a little bit too. This looks like a negative for both teams, and Phoenix has some injuries here because Phoenix was a 6.5-point favorite the last time they were at home against Seattle. Now they're only laying 3.5 here, which does seem like kind of a bargain on Phoenix. And you know, the public doesn't really want to lay points with Phoenix, like a team like Phoenix at 7-13. Like, their record's not good, but I have told you that Phoenix has played a pretty difficult schedule this year, and they're definitely the better team over Seattle. Seattle's really, really bad. But yeah, I think the most pertinent injury here, I don't know, is it Mac? I don't know. Mac is one of the better rebounders on the Mercury. Mac looks like a dude. Mac played in that last game against Seattle and then went down to injury during that road trip. So Mac, you know, is one of the starters, I think, for Phoenix. So that might be an issue. And then I don't know who Broshant is. Bro indicates that she doesn't look like a dude, though. I don't think she's one of their more important players, but she's out too. So some things to consider, but I think it's the injuries that are leading to this line being shorter at -3.5 here, or a -3 even on Phoenix. But if I was going to play this game, I think I would actually lay the points. I think Seattle's, both teams are in a negative, and I think Seattle's spot is actually a little bit more negative than Phoenix, even though Phoenix is returning home. Plus, I think Phoenix is just the better team. 87% of tickets, 93% of the cash on Phoenix. Laying the 3.5, and I know you don't want to just say, oh, this team is better and lay the points, because obviously the odds makers know that too, but the public might not realize that there is kind of a gap between these two teams. You know, like, Phoenix is not really one of the absolute bottom of the barrel teams here. Like, I think they're a bottom half team in the league, but they're not that bad. So that's what I think about that. So yeah, Phoenix is public, but the money is kind of agreeing with them. And then we have soccer. First game up is the one afternoon match, which is in Inglewood, California. So that's going to be a noontime game on the West Coast. Spain and Austria. These games are all on Fox 1, or Fox Sports 1, and Telemundo. Austria's not a very good team, man. Spain, I would be shocked if Spain lost this match. Spain is -340 on the three-way line. They're probably like -700 to advance here. I have Spain in the Final Four in my bracket, as you guys probably saw when I did my bracket. I think most people probably do. I think pretty much everybody has this coming down to a Spain-France battle here. Spain should not lose to Austria here. Spain, I know they didn't look that good against Uruguay in their last game, but Uruguay was not playing that well in the World Cup, man. And I think Spain, they just didn't give a shit about that game. Spain already had 4 points, so I think they pretty much already wrapped up I think they had already basically wrapped up the group. They did wind up getting a win anyway against Uruguay, but if you look at the offensive numbers in that game, neither team put up any offense, which is really bad for Uruguay because they were the more motivated team there. I think Spain just kind of threw the game almost. I think they just kind of looked past it, so I wouldn't put much weight into that. I actually think you could argue Spain's kind of undervalued right now because Spain, everybody remembers they had a draw with Cape Verde in the first game in the World Cup, which, again, I don't put much weight into that. And if you look at the stats in that game, Spain dominated that game. I have no idea how they didn't win that game. Clearly, they're way better than Cape Verde. So, yeah, Spain is better than they've looked so far. They did have an easy win over Saudi Arabia, but nobody's going to really pay attention to that. Yeah, KSA, I think the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. But yeah, Austria, dude, they have not been impressive in this World Cup here. They beat Jordan. Jordan was one of the worst teams in this competition. Who cares? They did play somewhat reasonably well against Argentina. That was a 1-0 game until Messi put in like a fluke goal in stoppage time there. So they did play well there. But then Austria, if you remember, they played against Algeria, and Algeria really outplayed Austria. If you look at the stats in that game, Algeria was the better team in this game against Austria. And Austria, this is that crazy game where Algeria broke the tie with a stoppage time goal, and then Austria scored and they added like an extra minute onto stoppage time. Stoppage time was supposed to be 5 minutes, and Austria scored in the 6th minute of it to draw, which seemed rigged because that's what knocked Iran out of the tournament. So you could make the argument that it was rigged because this is the U.S. and they're going to rig everything against Iran while they're, basically trying to bomb the shit out of the country, which is not good, obviously. Don't want to get this channel nuked, though. But if you look at the stats in this game, Algeria was better in this game. They had 65% of the possession. Expected goals were kind of close, 1.67 to 1.49. Algeria had more shots on goal, though. They were way better at, possessing the ball, passing the ball. So, I don't know. To me, that doesn't look good for Austria. And they kind of fluked their way to that draw there. I think the better way to play this game is actually probably to go Spain over their team total. And Spain got us one of those. I gave out that same play against Saudi Arabia. Although, of course, Austria is better than Saudi Arabia. But let me look at this. Hold on. Let me look at this. I'm looking at the public percentages here. Spain is very public in this match. So, there might not be any value in playing Spain here. But, Spain over their team total seems pretty tempting here. You can get over 2.5 at plus money, which, that just seems crazy. Spain over 2.5 at plus 120. Austria has been giving up some goals here, man, right? Like, I know they did hold Argentina to basically 1 in that whole game. They held Jordan to 1, but that doesn't impress me. And then Algeria got 3 against them. I don't know, man. I think if I was going to play this game, I would probably go Spain over their team total here. Spain to go over 2.5, but it seems way too easy. Like, how could you possibly be getting that at plus money? And then the total in this game, usually when you have a lopsided match like this, usually the total is going to be 3.5 because the better team is expected to put up an extra goal, basically, but that's not the case here, so that worries me. So I'm not going to give out a play on this, but I think if I was going to do it, I would go Spain over 2.5. Portugal, Croatia. These other two games are both competitive. Oh, and by the way, usually I mention the travel. Spain is actually having to travel from Mexico up to California there, and Austria is coming in from Kansas City, I believe. So something to keep in mind there. Portugal and Croatia. I believe Portugal is traveling in from Florida. Am I right about that? Yes, Portugal's coming in from Florida, and they're coming off kind of an ugly match, a draw against Colombia, so that would be your argument to play on Portugal here, is they look bad against Colombia with that draw. But one of the questions I would have is, was that misleading? You know what I mean? And the answer is kind of, no, actually, no, it was not. Colombia outplayed Portugal in this game. Like, I don't know, Portugal might have already had the group. Actually, Portugal did not have the group wrapped up because Colombia actually won the group. Colombia wound up with 7 points. Portugal only had 5. So Portugal did have some motivation here. That's not a good sign for Portugal, dude. Colombia, expected goals-wise, Colombia outplayed them 1.7 to 0.93. Colombia won the possession battle. They had 3 times as many shots on goal. That's not good. For Portugal, they got outplayed by Colombia here, dude. Colombia's not bad, but yeah, I think Portugal has some real issues here, dude. I don't know if it's all the Ronaldo rumors. I don't know what's going on here with Portugal, but yeah, they seem to not be in the right mental state here. And if you look at what they've done otherwise in the World Cup, they beat Uzbekistan. Who cares? And they had another draw with DR Congo, and I know, DR Congo, they had a 1-0 lead early yesterday against England. Yeah, whatever. They had a fluke goal at the 9-minute mark against England. Did you seriously think England was going to lose that match at that point? Because I didn't. I was saying, yeah, DR Congo's not going to score again in this match. And England dominated that match yesterday. It was just a matter of England needing to get some of those to go into the net. It was all Kane, but whatever. I don't think this is a good sign that Portugal had a draw against DR Congo and against Colombia, though Colombia is a reasonably competitive team, but it doesn't look good to me that Portugal only managed like a good performance against Uzbekistan, who is really, really bad, one of the worst teams in this thing. Croatia has been more impressive, I would say. They lost to England, and that was a 2-2 game into the second half, so they played pretty well. And England's a good defensive team, and Croatia put up 2 goals against them. That's pretty solid. And then Croatia, it looks like they kind of coasted against Panama, but whatever. I mean, they still beat them, and then they beat Ghana. Ghana's not bad. I think Ghana did get eliminated, or have they not played? I forget. Did Ghana get eliminated? I don't remember. No, Ghana's playing Colombia. That's right. That's going to be an interesting match, actually. I think that might be, I don't know when that match is. That's, it's got to be tomorrow. Yeah, because Saturday, Sunday, the next round starts. Yeah, it's tomorrow. Anyway, I think Croatia, they played the more difficult schedule here, dude. Like Portugal got DR Congo and Uzbekistan. Those are really easy opponents. And then they got Colombia. Croatia played England, which is more difficult than any of those teams. And then Ghana's not that bad either. So, yeah, and Croatia, by the way, I believe they're staying in Toronto for this too. So they have a location advantage here. Oh, no, they're coming up from Philadelphia. Sorry, I'm getting it all confused. Yeah, Croatia's coming up from Philadelphia. Portugal's coming up from Miami. So Croatia has a little bit of an edge here. So, yes, I'm making a case for Croatia in this game. And Croatia does have, they do have experience. I mean, they've made runs in this World Cup before, even though I think they're not as good right now. And Modric is an old man, Oldrich, but whatever. Portugal's minus 140 here. I think there's something not right with Portugal. I think Portugal's going to be the public side here. And in fact, I looked, and as far as the sides are concerned, Portugal is the most public side as far as the fact that the money is coming in against where the public is. Like, it looks pretty easy to lay minus 140 on the 3-way with Portugal. I think I would not do that. I think I would go Croatia win-draw on the 3-way, which, as I keep reminding you, these 3-way lines and the most of the normal ways to play these games, it's only in the first 90 minutes. So if the game goes into extra time or penalty kicks, none of that counts in that bet. So you're betting the first 90 minutes here. But my recommendation in this game is Croatia win or draw, or plus a half goal, whichever one you can get the better number on, in the first 90 minutes. So the regular line, that's the way I would play that. I like Croatia in that one. And then Switzerland and Algeria is the late game in Vancouver. Switzerland, I think, is the team that's staying in literally the same venue. Yeah, Switzerland is staying in Vancouver. Switzerland beat Canada in their last game in Canada. They beat Canada. Now, I don't think Canada's that good, although I know they're still alive in this tournament, but that's because they had a weak opponent, and they barely beat them in the first round of the knockout here. Switzerland dominated Bosnia, but they're not good either. And they drew with Qatar. So, yeah, Switzerland hasn't looked that good, man. Like, they've faced a pretty easy schedule. They were in an easy group. But Algeria is not that dominant, although I did say Algeria did play well against Austria. Like, they were better than the final score looked against Austria. Algeria beat Jordan, which nobody cares about that. And they did lose to Argentina, but that was also expected. So it's kind of hard to figure out what Algeria really is here. Like, I think Switzerland is the better of these two teams. The line is pretty close. Switzerland is plus 100 on the 3-way. So, yeah, Switzerland is considered to be the better team here. I did pick them to advance through this round in my bracket. It's close. Switzerland, maybe they're getting overlooked a little bit here. They're staying in Vancouver. The public might want Algeria because Algeria did, I went to the MLB. Algeria is, Algeria put up a bunch of goals in that last game, and everybody remembers that, and they might think, well, Algeria looked really good in putting up 3 goals there. Switzerland, whatever. I don't know if Switzerland's going to get that much credit for beating Canada 1-0, 1-0. I slightly lean Switzerland here, but I don't have a too strong of an opinion on that. I think the money is slightly agreeing with me on that. I just think they're the slightly better team, and I think it'll help that they're staying in the same venue. But Algeria's faced more difficult competition, though, in the World Cup. So Algeria is a little bit more battle-tested. So that would worry me a little bit. But yeah, I think if I was going to play any of these, I like Croatia the best, actually. Even though I do have Portugal winning that one game in my bracket, and then I think I have them losing to Spain in the next round. But whichever team wins that game, I think Spain will handle them. But assuming Spain wins today, which obviously I think they will. But yeah, I think Croatia plus the half goal or the win draw makes the most sense. Let me see what the number is on that. Action Network doesn't have the win draw. They only have the half goal, but let me see. Yeah, this is the game that looks like it's the most, like the best market read is on Croatia, and I also happen to agree with it. You can get Croatia plus a half goal at plus 120 at DK. To me, that doesn't seem like a bad option, really. Yes, and then I see there are some guys playing. I see the Croatia winner draws at plus 110. I see some guys on that too. But I see some guys playing Portugal on the three-way line as well. It's interesting, but yeah, I like Croatia in that one. I'm not going to quite get there with it. I think I'm going to have more plays in the next round, just because you want to fade what happened in the first round. That's how I do things. I might have a play tomorrow. Looking at what these matchups are tomorrow, I'm considering one of these games for a play tomorrow. You might know what it is if you've seen me talking. We'll see if I do it or not. But I might get screwed again because, I've only played one game in the knockout round. It was a loss after I was 5-1 in the group stage. I'm definitely treading a little bit carefully. And yes, I'm pissed. I should have played Mexico. I'm probably going to be saying when Croatia gets the win draw done, I know I'm going to be saying that as well today, but I'm trying with baseball. Baseball's been ice cold recently. It's been real bad after, it's still been a good season in baseball, but I told you July, August is some of my worst baseball, so pay no attention to me. We have 2 plays, first 5 under 3.5, Reds, Brewers. It's one of those ones that seems way too obvious, though, so I'm worried about that. And then we were on the full game under in Tigers, Rangers, which at least that one seems a little bit less obvious of a play. But it seems like it seems like a game where I would play the under, and I am. That's going to do it. Learn to Tone on Twitter, Learn to Tone on Instagram. Like, subscribe. Close to 500 here on YouTube, man. So let's get it going. Let's finally hit it. Seems like we go up and down with these numbers. I don't know what's going on with people subscribing and unsubscribing to me. I think it's some of those people that are like trying to promote their own shit and whatever, and then they subscribe to me, and then I don't respond to them, and they unsubscribe. Dude, just stay subscribed to me, man. What's the harm? Listen on audio, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker. Covered in Uke on YouTube, my Uke channel. My voice has not been, good at all, so unfortunately, I don't know what else to do. I've put out a couple of non-vocally challenging songs recently, although one was Loverboy, which is a little bit more difficult. I had a little bit of a voice then, so I haven't put them up on YouTube yet. I got to do that. And then patreon.com/learntotode. If you want to support me that way, but you're just supporting me because you like my content, and the money, basically goes back into making more content because I do pay money for some of these products and whatever. So, yeah, it does help me out in that way. I'm not necessarily gambling it away. You know what I mean? Money's fungible. I need money to live, to do the things that I do here on the channel. Not just the betting, to create the show. Loser Cast was on a Monday again this week. I think we'll be back to Tuesday next week, but go check that out. It was another pretty fun episode this week. And the New York Giants G-Spot podcast should return at some point. That's going to do it. At some point we'll have some football preview shows. I already did kind of an NFL preview, but maybe I'll do another one closer to the NFL season because I think things are going to change. So I don't know. I might change some of the things that I did in those ESPN games there. I don't really know. And I'll do a college football preview as well, but I really don't know too much about the landscape in college. And I know there are new conferences and conference realignment, and it's all just ridiculous. So I don't know. But basically, I talk about the turnover rate, not fumbles and interceptions. Continuity, like how many players are coming back for a certain team, which is getting less and less because of the transfer portal. But maybe I'll do a college football preview. I did one last year, and I don't think my predictions were great, but whatever. It's just something to talk about. That's gonna do it for now. Peace.
But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now.